How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to the preview for Liverpool's game coming up. Thank you for joining us. I know it has been rough for us at least, for United fans. Um, so we got a few people in today. Reese is going to be joining us as well, but we got Stu with us, always coming through. We do have Mark Hanna. Mark, did I see right in the group chat that you were making a debut for the channel today?
Just for tonight, in the sense of this is my debut. I apologise. I was saying to lads earlier on. Unfortunately, I'm actually in work at the moment, so I'm just using my break and my free time. I work in homeless services in Dublin, so God forbid if anything is to go wrong and I jump off, you know why.
Yeah. All right, man. Awesome. And then we do have Aiden, who is going to be our Liverpool fan for this preview. So I'd say be kind to him, but why say it? Before we get started, I do want to be a little bit of an asshole because as Manchester United has been struggling, and I said in some of the chats and the other previous shows that I've watched some other teams, I just have to do it because Jalen Brunson for my New York Knicks scored a 50 piece, 100% from the 3-point line. Like, it's just ridiculous. First player in history of the NBA to do that. So I just have to be hyped. I'm sorry. All right. Now we can go ahead and get into everything. The first topic that we do want to discuss is, do we all think United is going to be given Eric Ten Hag, and also I guess at this point is once the supposed takeovers, however damn long it's going to take, actually starts happening, the same amount of time that Liverpool gave Klopp in the beginning of his time to actually get things going, to straighten, get everything going in the right direction, and get the boat to stop sinking, if we will. So Stu, we're gonna go round robin on this. Stu, go ahead. I'm gonna let you start off.
Yeah, look, I'll be very, very brief. You've got to, there's a crescendo, of course, for Ten Hag to be removed. Morons know fuck all about football, don't understand football. And so, you can change, the cycle keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. It's like a tumble dryer. You just watch it go round and round and round and round and round until something, falls off or your clothes disintegrate. And this is what's happening with managers post Fergie. The problem has always been player power. As soon as player power erupted, when players were offered 50, 60, 70, 80,000 quid a week. And I'm talking back in early 2000s, end of the 90s, early 2000s. You were always going to garner issues. You're going to garner players that would look at contracts, look at a 5-year plan, maybe a 10-year plan, and that's it for them. And they don't care how they get there. They'll go from club to club, or they'll just sit on the contracts. Chelsea are going to have major issues in 2-3 years' time with some of their players, and we're no different. We've got players that come in on huge contracts, and what they do is they undermine managers, and they're going to undermine managers because there is no consequence to them. There's always a consequence to the manager, but no consequence to the player. But here's the critical thing about football and footballers. It's not the manager that can't make a 2-yard pass. It's not the manager that can't head a fucking ball. It isn't the manager that can't run 10 yards. It isn't the manager that can't stand where he's supposed to stand. It's the fucking player. And it's that individual as a man, as a person, okay, that is responsible for his own game. And people talk about coaching, lack of this, lack of that. It's all, honestly, mate, I play a game all the time. It's all bollocks. You listen and you learn through conversation, okay? But a real footballer is the one that, channels everything from within him to make him the best player possible. A manager does not improve you. He educates you. You are the only one that can improve yourself. And so, yeah, by all means, get rid of Ten Hag. Go for it. Do it. And then what happens? You bring in the buzz manager of the week, whoever that may be. Ancelotti, De Zerbi. It doesn't really matter who it is. And then what happens in 3 years' time? We're experiencing exactly the same. So no, you give him his chance and let him do something for the next 2-3 years. Let's see what he can do. But anyway, it's a churlish thing to do to remove him.
Go ahead, Mark. You can jump in.
Yeah, personally, shit. Oh yeah. I feel the same in your regard. Like, we can't just keep going through swings and roundabouts, though, as a football club, ultimately. Like since literally 2014, it's been the same monotonous approach. We've hired and fired managers at will nearly at this stage, without being smart to Aiden, similar to Liverpool of like 90s, etc., early 2000s, until they ultimately start to get their feet into the mud with Jurgen Klopp, with a shrewd sign from his point of view. But us as a club, I think ultimately I don't want to see Ten Hag sacked whatsoever. I really don't. But I just think that like there's nobody upstairs that's going to turn around and say, you know what, like we need to buy their time. And we keep referencing the takeover and how long it's going to be, and Jim Radcliffe coming in and this and that is going to be done to the ground, and new players coming in, etc. But ultimately, this has been going on so long in regards to a takeover, even with Jim Radcliffe, and it's back and forward. Ex-journalist turned around, takeover's imminent. There'll be 25% the Ineos be announced next week. It's going on and on and on. Like ultimately, I genuinely think it's to our detriment that he's going to be ultimately sacked over the next couple of weeks. Come tomorrow, and then we've got West Ham away, and yeah, it's sad because ultimately I want them to succeed, but I think that's where we're at as a football club, unfortunately.
Yeah. I do just want to say sorry. I actually wanted to say that at the beginning of the show as well. Thoughts and prayers up to that guy, man. I saw somewhere that's the second time something like that happening for him as well. So that's unfortunate, man. I hope he can get everything squared away and taken care of. Reese, thank you for joining us. The question is essentially, do you think, I guess one, do you think they are going to, and do you think they should be giving Ten Hag the time he needs, similarly that Liverpool gave to Klopp to get everything going right at the club?
I think logically you should be giving a manager time, but also to give a manager time, the manager has to actually showcase something that's warrant of the time. I think just you can give manager time all you want. If you don't see anything to show from it, then giving someone time is pointless. Like you can progress, you can stagnate, you can regress as well. But the most important thing is if you are in a job for a reason, you've actually got to show why you're in the job. And at times, we haven't seen that from any manager since Sir Alex Ferguson, to be fair, at times. But we've also seen situations where they have been given reasons for time. But I think circumstance being for Ten Hag, yes, he should get. I don't think sacking right now, even if the new owners come in and think it's wise to sack him, I don't think that's the right decision. I can understand that a new owner, for example, will want their own manager because it's around their project, it's their option, it makes sense. But if your ideal decision when if a new structure comes in, a new owner comes in and decides, well, I want to sack a manager straight away, is Ten Hag warranted of a sack right now? Yes, because results this year have been absolutely shit. But also to immediately pull the trigger and sack the manager means the players again have already won. So if anything, I would just stick by the manager. Now I think to then go and use the Klopp circumstance, for example, Klopp had a lot in the bank. He had two-time Bundesliga, two-time he won the Bundesliga, including a double. First time Dortmund ever won a double in their entire their history. He got to the Champions League final, consistently in Europe. He had a lot more in the bank than Ten Hag, circumstantially, but Ten Hag also, with what he achieved at Ajax, is still warranted. But with Liverpool as well, like Liverpool were easing out with their squad. I think I'm assuming Aiden's a Liverpool fan. Like he'll agree. Like that Liverpool lineup that they had was, bar one or two players, it was piff. So you're gonna need to iron out a lot, and I think for themselves as Klopp's got a little bit more authority, like a little bit more authoritative respect. I don't think Ten Hag has that within these players. These players just want to roughshot him, take control, and they know because they've got Mourinho out, they've had Solskjaer out, they belittled Rangnick, who was an interim, who was going to have a long-term position afterwards. When Klopp came in, it was purely he's manager, and there's a structure around him, and over time, they'll change it, and they'll phase individuals that Klopp work with. They'll do that. With us, you're not getting to get that unless there's a consistent structure. So I think to compare the Ten Hag situation to Klopp, maybe not the best, but Liverpool were right to give him time. Man United should give Ten Hag time unless everything goes completely completely out of control that's unrecoverable.
Mhm. Aiden, I'd like for you to comment on as well from your perspective with how things went with Liverpool, and also just to add in, and Reese actually ended up kind of bringing it up. Did maybe, and again, Ten Hag had an okay, career at the things that brought him in, but like Reese said, Klopp had done a lot with at Dortmund and in the Bundesliga. So did that play into maybe some of the patience you had, if you had the right amount of patience at the time when things were going on?
Yeah, if you look at it, Reece pretty much hit it on the head. If you were to look at the time Klopp started, things did start off a little bit slow in a sense. But if I was to look at, Ten Hag, I wouldn't kind of go down the route of, as a Liverpool fan personally sacking him. I think that's the wrong decision. If you were to do, like, let's say the clear out or whichever, and you got the players that he wanted, if the same thing happened again, then what would happen in terms of Ten Hag? Is it going to be like a rinse and repeat type situation? And then if it happens, then that you don't get the results, then there's questions asked if he's the right man for the job. At the moment, again, I wouldn't say sack him. I would intend to give him time, which I think is what he needs. The big problem from a Liverpool fan looking from outside, I would say it's players' attitude, to be truthfully honest. So if you do end up getting rid of, say, the players that you don't want to see in the club anymore, and get players that you need, see how that goes, and then go from there. Because I think if it happens that you do get the players, it clicks with Ten Hag, you might have a similar situation with Klopp. You could end up building years of, results or trophies and things like that. So I see a similar situation, to be honest.
Yeah. Let me put some comments in here too before I say my quick part, if I'm being honest. And that's something I do agree with. I don't if they do decide to go that route, I don't even see anybody as an option at this moment. All right. And I'll be honest, my point of view on it too also goes back to the players, like Aiden just said about the mentality. At this point, we're seeing these players do it repeatedly, So if there's anybody dealing with and going out first, it's got to be those players, in my opinion, before we start talking about managers or anything like that. Supports that. Sorry, I'm not gonna lie. I was just showing up. Well, why do you get the finger? Jeez, James. Reese. All right. So let's move on now. So the next question, and I'm going to do a little reverse one too. So I'll start with Aiden, mainly because this next question is around Liverpool. So, which City dropping points are seemingly on a regular basis now in the Premier League? Are you getting more and more confident? And would you say that you guys over there in Liverpool on that side of the nasty ass area, whatever, are becoming title favorites at this time for this season?
If you look at the table this moment in time, yes. But, I do have some concerns. Like last few games, in particular, we've been extremely slow starting off. I think that, coming back and winning games within like the 80th, 90th minute or what is brilliant. Don't get me wrong, the mentality is there. But how long is that going to last? I don't think personally, if they keep doing that they're going to end up getting the results that they need. So I think that, they need to come out a little bit quicker, personally, because I don't think, if it happens that we do end up playing the way we play, look, the way we play is great. I'm not saying that it's not. But there's only so much more that they can do in terms of, getting results when they need them. Because you can't keep getting results like that in the last minute, because it's just your luck's going to run out pretty much. So yeah, it's great and all with City drop points, but City or City, and they could end up winning a game and then they'll end up winning the next 5, 7, 8, 9 or whatever games. So, we're in a good spot. But as I said, I'd like us to come out a little bit faster, start making, getting goals within maybe the first half, stop leaving things. You could probably, put a lot of it on the attackers as well. Maybe Nunes in particular. I don't know how he make easiest things look hard and then the hardest things look easy. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, look, personally, I think we're in a great spot, but we just need to kind of come out a little bit quicker, in my opinion.
All right. Hey, Reese, you could jump in, and I figured I'd put this up here for you as well, just in case you wanted to comment. Yes, no, well, accurate, not accurate.
What a horseshit comment. And simply being Liverpool aren't title favourites at all. They're not, and that's not biased because I hate Liverpool. It's simply Liverpool are not title favourites because they're conceding too many goals. Like they're not gonna, unless they keep outscoring opponents like that, you're not gonna win the league. So nope, they're not title favourites for me at all.
Mark, are you along the same sentiment as Reese, or as passionate about it?
Yeah, I'll just say, ultimately, I think City have been there too many times before. And, this might be a blip in regards to what they've one win in the past 6, I think I was reading today after today's result, in the league. But, as well as that, again, these have been here before. And Liverpool are in somewhat of a transition themselves after their expenditures last summer. My personal opinion on it. Liverpool potentially be thereabouts, but we just think City are just going to win the league again. We obviously don't want to see either them or Liverpool to win the league, but ultimately, it's going to be between them and then Arsenal. I reckon that's City, Arsenal potentially second, Liverpool third. If it's a case where I don't see the likes of Villa staying in and around. I'm not saying that they won't stay in and around the top 6, but I don't see them staying in around top 4 as per se. I think they'll start to wean off. Again, basing. Sometimes it's nearly to people's detriment when they're in Europe, playing in Europe. So, 3 games a week, potentially.
Yeah. All right. Stu, your thoughts? Also, we have a very important question, apparently. Just want to,
Trevor, good to have you. I don't really care about who wins the league. Not really interested. Because it's not going to be us. So from that point of view, I've got zero interest in that. I've got to be honest with you, Trev. It's everyone's wearing Christmas jumpers in the house, so it is what it is. It's family time, isn't it? So.
All right. Okay. Well, that one went a little bit quicker, which I guess I'm not too surprised about. But this next one, I think we'll at least have a little bit of a discussion on because. It was commented before that they can't really see who would be a decent option now, but I'm assuming these are the speculations because people like to talk about United more than they should, and even if they should. So the next topic we're bringing up is Graham Potter to United speculation. So I am very happy I'm a host for this question. So Stu, if you want to go ahead and start that off for us, I'm a little bit interested to see where you're going to go with this one.
Well, as a journalist, it's lazy journalism. That's basically what it is in a nutshell. They've got to, people are speculating that Ten Hag gets a bullet after Sunday if we don't win, and then so you've got to be linked with somebody. You have to have somebody, ready and willing to come and take it over. It'd be like a feeding frenzy. I like Potter. I think he's a really good coach, and I like what he stands for as an individual, as a person. But the players of the kind of imbecilic nature that we have at our club at the moment would just trample all over him, and I don't think it's good for his career. Potter, I think having Manchester United in his CV is excellent, but it's not good for your mental health. So if I was him, I'd be running away from the club rather than to the club. So for me, look, I've seen it all before. Journalism can be massively interesting if you've got a scoop on a really good story and you've got really good contacts and it's genuine information you're receiving, or you can just be as lazy as you like. What tends to happen in and around clubs, I tend to work in motorsport journalism, so if there's a chance of a rider change anywhere in MotoGP or something, then tend to get like a junior member of the team somewhere, or just try and feed you some information, so that they're trying to prove to themselves and to you and to the rest of the media they are in the know. So you'll go to them for quotes, etc. And you've got to understand where these kind of people sit within the parapet where you need them to sit, and they're so low down, you just take it with a pinch of salt. So anytime any manager or anyone is linked with us, it's clickbait. It's clickbait. They can't go in on City. I mean, City, I don't think have they won once in 6 or something along those. Reece, you're the knowledge guy. You'll tell me. But they can't go in City because City want to,
One
you
in
know,
six, yeah.
It is
One in
1 in
6, yeah.
Yeah. So they want a treble, so you can't really go, and they'll never have a pop at Guardiola. And so you've got to find another way of selling papers and getting clicks and getting views, and everybody will tell you, as much as Graham Potter could be admired for what he's done. In fact, he very, very similar trajectory to the way Roy Hodgson started his career. I think Hodgson was out in Finland, so very similar trajectory. I think he needs to come in at a little bit lower. A club like West Ham, Southampton, I know they're in the Championship, but, somewhere of that ilk would be quite good for him. Leicester City, maybe. And again, I know they're in the Championship, got good managers, but a club of that ilk, you can't just move to Manchester United because we're already in free fall anyway with where we are as a club. And Ten Hag's pushing, whatever uphill. Having Potter in there, like I said, as much as I do like him, I do admire him. It reminded me of Dave Sexton, actually. Dave Sexton was a revered coach back in the 70s. Revered coach. He was a wonderful coach, but as a manager, he just fell flat. And I think Potter comes to Manchester United, although I don't believe the story anyway, it would be a bad move for him. So it'd be a bit of a no for me, I'm afraid.
Mark, if you want to go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, much the same, really. But I genuinely would be very, very, very surprised to see Graham Potter at Manchester United in any form. I don't like what Stu was saying there. Realistically, like, this story is probably pulled out of somewhere, potential link to Ineos or something we've seen during the week as well. Someone in the background team there, and that's where they're ultimately coming up with this grandiose type, storyline. It's absolutely crazy. Like, ultimately, if it's a case where Manchester United do decide to sack Erik ten Hag over the next, say, week, with everything that's had to happen previously and going forward, and in regards to results coming forward, ultimately, you're not going to see Graham Potter at the helm. Like, Manchester United have to aim for much better managerial equations than previous. If that's the case, if they're gonna decide to sack Ten Hag, it's again, like, I revert back to what I said earlier. It's the same rolling ball. What you get, is Graham Potter gonna come in and steady the Manchester United ship? I don't think so. Ultimately, we need someone very big, and unfortunately, 2 of the biggest managers in the world are at 2 of our closest rivals, and that's it. Ultimately, if we were able to revert back time to 2013, would we have tried that bit hard for Guardiola, knowing what was the state of play over the next 10 years? Or even Jurgen Klopp, considering he was doing very well at Dortmund at the time, like the lads had referenced. Yes, but ultimately we're in the position now, and if it's a case where he sack Ten Hag, well then ultimately, Graham Potter be nowhere at Manchester United. There's no way.
I feel like Reese has a very curt answer to this topic, if he has an answer to it.
I'll be honest, I am not a fan of Graham Potter. I don't like his managerial style. I don't like how he's acted at several clubs before, where he's went from the likes of Finland, he's went into Norway, he's also went to several clubs in England, including even a Welsh club as well as Swansea. His attitude as well, where like he's left, he's like, I'm always going for bigger and better, whilst he's still under a main contract. He's like, I just want to move on. He doesn't give me that sort of vibe of somebody you want to actually have as a long-term manager, or even somebody you think would actually take you onwards. I think if you want to implement a style and then progress from it, then he's okay from that as a basic sense. But as somebody who should be managing a football club the size of United, and Not for me. Not a fucking chance.
Aiden, if you want to comment, I know even you said it earlier from the from outside looking in that the Liverpool, I do mean that you could see the issues at United from players in other areas. So would that even be something that you think could possibly help? Going to these guys,
No.
not a chance.
No. I saw the leak, well, supposed leak, when it first came out that Graham Potter was apparent favourite, but I found it. I just found that strange, to be honest. Like the other three guys said, that they knocked the nail on the head. I I just think that if Graham Potter did come in, I would just think that would be the straw that broke the camel's back. That would be it. To be honest, I think again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I don't think it's the manager. I just think it's the players. So if you end up kind of sacking Eric Ten Hag and then bringing in Graham Potter, you're just going to have the same rolling ball again. You're going to be looking for someone else, and that's just pretty much the way it's going to go. It's just going to have to be the players that need sorting out, not the manager, as I said earlier.
Yeah. And I think I'm hoping at least more and more United fans are starting to realize that, because like I even have a friend of mine he's on the sack Ten Hag trading, and I'm like, it's not going to change, and I had to arc back and forth with him about it. So I hope some more fans are starting to see it is the players. So we are going to take it in a slightly different direction today. The three of us on top of here, the way you guys are looking, we'll jump in if Reese ends up needing a little backup. But I think we're partially doing this so we don't jump Aiden. Three. What would this be? 3-on-1? Jesus, I can't do math. 4-on-1? Jesus.
Yards are in my favor.
So we're gonna try to run through this too, but you guys, Reese and Aiden, are gonna go back and forth with this one. We are gonna go ahead just to have a little fun in this preview because at least for us on the United side, they ain't too much fun having in recent times for us. We're gonna go and pick a combined 11 between United's 08 squad and Liverpool's 2020 squad. So try to get this going just by step. I think we'll just do it simple and go by positions. So let's just start from the back and see how you guys want to go about it at keeper, because this one should be interesting.
Look, I'll be truthfully honest. I had a hard time with this one. It's going to kill me to say it, but I would have went Van der Sar, to be honest. That was my pick. I was leaning a little bit more towards Alisson, but then I was like, no, personally, I think Van der Sar was just a little bit, more better in my opinion. That's just me.
Reese, any arguments there?
1-0 United. Van der Sar, obvious choice.
All right. Now let's go. I'll save the center backs. Let's do left back.
You want left back?
Yeah.
Sorry, Hamma. Sorry, lads. I really apologise. I'm only at the trying in the group there. I have to go back to work. Unfortunately.
No worries.
I really appreciate it. Lovely speakers, and hopefully speak to you again, please God.
All the best.
Thanks, lads.
All the best. All the best.
One United.
Listen.
Let me just chuck a tiny spanner in the works here.
No.
But I would have gone Alisson in goal.
No.
Oh my lord.
Look, as a Liverpool fan, look again. I had a hard time with it personally, but I genuinely think Van der Sar is
If
just.
If it was a choice between Schmeichel and Alisson wouldn't have got a look in.
Yeah,
I think that's the definition of like favoritism in the sense of like they're on the
Schmeichel's a better all-round goalkeeper than Alisson, but I think Alisson's a better all-round goalkeeper than Van der Sar. Van der Sar went great with his feet, was he? Not that you need to be great with his feet.
I disagree on that. I disagree that Van der Sar wasn't good with his feet. He played in a team that literally was all about playing from the back, playing with their feet, and that was the fucking Ajax team from the mid-90s.
But I'd have Gary Bailey in front of Van der Sar anyway. So
I'd have sleepless nights before Gary Bailey. even though he's actually a decent goalkeeper.
He was fucking great. He was great.
He was a decent goalkeeper. He also had errors in him a lot. But I think to say that Alisson over Van der Sar, I mean, like, Alisson's a good goalkeeper. I'm not going to take that away from him. Like, he is a legitimately good goalkeeper. But you got to bear in mention that in crunch situations, Van der Sar was saving key penalties from Chelsea players that really mattered, like the Champions League final. He was also keeping the likes of the Liverpool players shut out that season as well, when Liverpool were about to go on and be a good side, like the following season when they bottled the league.
Not disagreeing with his quality, by the way.
I think a lot of people. And I think, yeah, he was the Juventus goalkeeper for 2 years. I think the reason why people are going to have, this is the thing why I know people will have this is why I know for a fact people will have Alisson over Van der Sar, is because of the two centre backs that were in front of him, and I think that's a bullshit excuse. Just because you've got two brilliant centre backs in front of you doesn't mean you can't have a great goalkeeper. He still has to do his job, and he wasn't just a great goalkeeper; he was a great leader from the back. So it's obviously Van der Sar.
Okay, I guess we should also, before we continue from goalkeeper, figure this out too. Are we going 4-4-2, 4-3-3? How are we doing this?
I don't mind.
Oh.
I'll give that honour to Aiden. I'll give that honour to Aiden.
Yeah, I have it down as 4-3-3 currently.
You know what?
That's
we'll
fine
go
by me.
4-3-3 because that 08 team's better anyways. So like I was saying, left back.
Evra.
We'll get this. Oh,
Evra, easy.
I'd second that. I have Evra. Yeah.
Stu, I think you might as well just do Evra. Well, we'll let them go, but unless you got something.
No, I'd have had
against it,
Everett. I'd have had Everett. I think Robertson's decent. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not Everett's class.
No. All right, right back.
I have Trent. Personally, now I know at that time you had Brown, but I just think Trent personally peaks that for me.
Reese?
But it's just his long range shooting for me is just unmatched. So yeah, for me all day Trent.
There's 5 or 6 arguments I can give for Wes Brown ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold, both from a defensive and an offensive sense. But you've also got to bear in mind that season as well, he was in the team purely because Gary Neville was absolutely riddled with injuries, hence why he played so many games. But in terms of the actual sense of the team in general, like Wes Brown was brilliant that year as well, like defensive shutouts, got into the Champions League final. He was key in the Champions League final, got the key assist as well for Ronaldo's opening goal. But you've also got to look at the whole dynamic of what has been brought to the season. I cannot stand Trent Alexander-Arnold as a player, and I'll be honest. I think he's. I don't care what Liverpool fans think. I genuinely think he's extremely overrated as well. I think he is.
Quick question to Aiden: Are you basing Alexander-Arnold? I don't know why people call him Trent.
It's one season we're basing
on his defensive capabilities or his offensive capabilities. Bearing in mind he's a right back.
Yeah, look, of course. Look, I mean, his the defending is hugely questionable. Look, I mean, we intend to get absolutely riddled down that side. So I'm kind of basing it off offense, to be truthfully honest.
I'm going to say this, and I don't know what Aiden will think about it, but Trent Alexander-Arnold doesn't get exposed as much in the Man United 08 team if he was around in that era and plays for United than he does for that Liverpool team in 2020.
No, but I think that's very true. Yeah.
And for that reason alone, that's why I'm picking Wes Brown.
Sorry, Hamma. It's I'm
not all going to be Man United biased, by the way. I'm going to be very fair.
No. That's why I asked. That's why I asked the question: are you picking Trent for his offense rather than his defense? Yeah, but
I'm picking as an overall package player.
Yeah, I get that. And when you look at it, Wes is a more defensive player than a more offensive player. And for me, a right back is defense first, offense second. So I kind of would lean towards Gary Neville.
Well,
just to annoy you both. But that's what I would do. I'll
If
take
this
it.
had been if this had been a 99 situation, then I would have picked Gary Neville. But in no way,
No,
Gary
you've
Neville
got
is
to
nowhere to be
pick
found.
Wes Brown. Yeah, you had to pick Wes Brown. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now we're going to get to the interesting part. So we're going to go to the center backs. And I will just like to say, I saw a comment earlier already about it. And I know there's going to be a conversation. And I will say, as a former center back, however this ends up being discussed, I'd take Vidic over Rio. And I don't know how people are going to feel about that. Because I'm just a absolute, like the way Vidic played is how I would played. And I absolutely love his psychopathic ass. But anyways, go ahead, guys.
I'll let Reese go first with this one.
I know how this one's going to go.
Constant interruptions really fucking annoy me.
Yeah.
To be honest, I said I wasn't going to be overly biased, and I'm not going to be. Vidic and Ferdinand is the best centre-back partnership in the Premier League besides Carvalho and John Terry, in my opinion. That's the two best Premier League partnerships since the league's inception. In terms of actual standing point, Liverpool were nothing until and I don't mean like they're nothing as a football club, but they were nothing under Klopp in terms of actually going to challenge for top titles until Van Dijk went into their defence. So I am going to be very fair on that. I am going to put Van Dijk on the right-hand side, but on the left side, I am going to go... See, I like both centre-backs in the sense of it, but I am going to go purely for Ferdinand. I think Ferdinand, overall, as a centre-back, really carried the defence, especially when there were key players out injury-wise. Like, there was not a lot of captains. Ferdinand assimilated himself into that role, and he was actually a good captain for Man United as well. So was Vidic. But I think Ferdinand, even in his worst days, was still better than Vidic. But Vidic would just kill people, and I'm all right with that. I've got nothing against full-blown violence from Nemanja Vidic. But just an overall perspective of a team, I would probably go Van Dijk and Rio Ferdinand.
Just real quick, I just want to point out, overall perspective of a team, one of the things that made those Rio and Vidic as balanced as they were was the what's the word I'm looking for? The opposites attract, if you will, in their style of play. I just want to say.
Yes. No, that's true. If I'd been incredibly biased, not a single Liverpool player gets in my team. But I have to be fair.
That's true.
I have to be a little bit fair. So, but yeah, I would 100% say that. What drugs are you on?
Yeah, Trevor.
What
and that's coming from me too. Like, even I'm a little worried. Everybody should get that reference.
I'm sorry, but like Vidic was great, but carrying Ferdinand, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know if I would agree with the carried. Yeah.
Like, they were both great partnership, like, together, as you say, like, opposites attract. Like, they played very well in terms of how they compensated. Vidic was able to stay back and be aggressive, and there was times where Ferdinand would go forward because Ferdinand was a fantastic ball carrier, but he was also very quick as well. He was very spatial aware as well, so like, he had the key attributes to being a centre back. Vidic was a complete opposite. Vidic was terrible with his feet, by the way. Like, he was terrible. But what he was really good at was patience, coming from a killer. He was patient, but when he really needed to be, and stepping out to stop a play.
Damn, Trevor's coming out fighting.
He had experience. I don't know what the... Nah, like, he wasn't just pace. Like, that's bollocks. I'm sorry, that's bollocks.
I do just want to say, and Stu, I actually want to ask you this as a tangent because, just because I sometimes get distracted. As a center back, one of the things that I've had happen to me more times than I would have liked. Now, as a center back and a defender, I'm happy because I stopped the goal. But I've had way too many times taken shots off my nuts. And I saved them, but I was down for a while. And I'm just curious if that's something that's happened to you in your many years of playing as a center back.
All the time. It'll probably happen. It would have happened this afternoon, but our game was pushed back till tomorrow, and it'll happen tomorrow. But that's what happens with it. That's why Steve Bruce and Pallister were so good together. Bruce, his face was just smashed to
Oh,
pieces.
yeah.
He would put his face in there. Vidic was exactly the same. Ferdinand was too much of a pretty boy to do that. Yap Stam again, shave his fucking head off and get stuck in. That's what they do. You have to have opposites have to attract in centre halves. You have to have a beast, and you have to have a one for the better word, a phrase, a Rolls Royce player. The way that I play is rather like you. I'll fucking trample on the centre forward. I don't give a fuck. I'll
Are
pull
we
his hair.
also forgetting as well that, like, even as an over the hill player, Rio Ferdinand was also excellent beside Laurent Blanc? Are we also forgetting that?
Yeah, well, we're not forgetting it. Laurent Blanc.
So the whole pretty boy thing is, I think what's the need? Like people are just going to forget that, like, Ferdinand also was aggressive. Like, he may have looked a little bit reserved, but he was aggressive. He may not have been as fucking aggressive
He wasn't that
as
aggressive.
Vidic was, but I think that's a bit. I think
He
that's
wasn't
a
that
bit.
aggressive. He wasn't that
Trump.
aggressive. Well, no, he is. I mean, that was his image. Anyone who goes out with blonde fucking hair or braids his hair, whatever you do, that's your image. You're more interested in your image first, football second. I've said it before. Van Dijk's exactly the same. Got a fucking ponytail.
Hey.
No, I'm saying, but
Relax.
that's it. You're looking at image first, football second. The players that I'm talking about, football first. Image, they don't give a fuck about image.
To be
When it gets
fair,
on the field.
I walked around with a buzz cut until after college, so
And that's your difference, and that's why you have to have that balance. That's why you have, Ferdinand could play alongside Laurent Blanc because Laurent Blanc was an exceptional defender, exceptional centre half. His positional play was tremendous. His
I'm not saying it
organisation.
wasn't, but I think it's. I'm not saying it wasn't. But I think when
tremendous.
you look at it, I think when you are looking at the whole perspective in general, just say because he's a pretty boy. I'm sorry. I mean, even I find fucking Ferdinand fuck ugly, but to say like all he was just pace is
I never said he was just pace.
bullshit.
I never said he
I'm not
was
saying
just
you
pace.
did. I never said you did, but the fact
I was
that
gonna say,
there's
I
comments
didn't.
saying that he was just. I never said you did. I'm just saying there's literally comments saying he's just pace. I'm sorry, but even I fucking remember, even when he was slower, he was still one of the best defenders to watch. I just think it's fucking funny.
I think we might have touched the soft
don't
spot for Reece here.
You don't like. Like I said, like Vidic is a fucking amazing centre back, and I've already said like his qualities of being a killer, like his ability to just space out and then come in on a defender. But to say for Ferdinand it's just image. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not, because there were times when he's playing that game blood and skull.
He's a lot of image. Look at the way that he played against Leeds. Look at the way he doesn't. Ferdinand doesn't come in my higher echelon of United centre halves. I think we've had better centre halves than Ferdinand. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just think we've had better centre halves. How would you rate Gary Pallister then in reference? Two very similar players.
I think
Stu's going deep in the bag.
Pallister was a great centre back. Like Pallister was a genuinely great centre back. And
absolutely.
If anything, he was better than Steve Bruce. Like, he was. But I think you've got to look at it as, like, just being better than someone isn't, like, you can be better in certain qualities, but it doesn't mean like you're going to end up being the defender that's actually more revered. Like, if you look at that partnership,
it's not about being better. It's about how you balance. It's how you balance the centre.
This is what I'm trying. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm getting at. So, like, one of those players was revered. Like, Vidic was the more revered centre back. I'm not going to disagree on that. But when you've got people in the comments saying that fucking Ferdinand was just pace, I'm sorry, but what the fuck were you watching? Because he wasn't. Like, there was more to this guy's game than anything else. Like, in terms of actually passing at the back ability, he was one of the best in the league for it. He was actually good at that. He was actually effective in that. He contributed a lot to transitional play going forward. So I think to say it like those,
I wasn't talking about it. I was talking about image.
Do players care about image? Yes, there are a lot of players that care about image. I'm not going to argue against. I'm not going to argue against that. But we're not here to discuss which player had the best image, because we already know who has the best image already. Is David Beckham. We're not here to have that conversation. We're here to talk about like who gets into a team. And when you look at actual qualities of an individual player, Ferdinand had more than pace. He was a very good centre back. He was very good in terms of how he played from his position. If you had to ask who would win in a fucking boxing match, it'd be Nemanja Vidic, because he'd headbutt him anyway. But if you actually look at the whole quality of a player,
Nobody
I
said he
think
wasn't.
Vidic. Look at the
Reece,
freaking
nobody
chat.
said-
They're right.
Oh, you gone about the
Look-
chat, are you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, I'll have to
Actually
read
saying,
the chat back.
All right.
I'll
All
have to read
right.
the chat back then.
I think
The
I
quality
think
of a
Reece.
player is important. The quality of a player is important. If it was purely like a different era style, if anything, they kind of contrast each other. Vidic was a 90s centre back in the 2000s playing perfect football.
Yes, that's
Ferdinand
how
was
you
good. It's not a negative comment to Vidic in terms of you actually look at the style of Vidic, like the aggressive centre backs. It was perfect for the 90s, but it was also perfect for the aggressive side of the 2000s. It was about to become a pussy sport.
Reece,
Whereas
I'm an
Ferdinand
80s
just
back still playing.
Whereas
So-
Ferdinand worked.
Laying for the fences now.
Ferdinand
He's just
worked in that
going.
era.
Sorry.
Ferdinand worked in that
It's-
era because it gave him the ability to play from the back effectively. The relationship between Van der Sar and Ferdinand was also even better, and I think that's a reflection. So it's plain and simple. Like,
I'm sorry.
Right, where are we going
Yeah,
next?
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
I'm not.
I've
I'm
read
already,
the chat.
I'm
I'm
already
gonna have to
sticking.
read. I'm gonna have to
I'm
read
already
the chat.
sticking with. I'm already sticking with Ferdinand and Van Dijk, plain and simple.
Yeah. No, we're okay. Let's move this. We can definitely move on. That was honestly, I was letting that go on for my entertainment.
Can we get Aiden to speak for 5 minutes?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Aiden. All right. Let's jump to the midfield. I guess do y'all want to go a 6 and 2 8s, I guess, as the options? We're going 4-3-3.
Yeah, I had Scholes in there, without a doubt. He had to be in there. So,
Oh yeah, or you can just give us all three if you want at the same time, and we'll just.
yeah. So had Scholes, but I'm torn to who else goes in there. To be truthfully honest. I Genie, possibly. But I genuinely don't know who else would win beside them. To be truthfully honest, Scholes and Genie, but I'm not sure who else. By looking at this.
Oh. All right. So he's going. He's only giving us two right now because he can't. That last one's giving him some trouble.
You went with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That's Genie. So Genie, Van Alden, Paul Scholes. You can't decide the third. Well, it's plain and simple for me. Midfield, it's Carrick, Scholes, and Thiago Alcantara.
Yeah, that's who I would have gone with. I would have gone with Alcantara. Yeah.
That is what we have. We've seen a little bit of that. Of course, Scholes. I mean, come on.
I know he's not covering himself in glory recently, but he was fantastic when he first came to Liverpool. Absolutely, he got that ankle injury, didn't he? And I think that's probably he was out for a while, wasn't he? I don't think he's recovered.
No,
even an injured Thiago is still their best midfielder in my opinion.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, he had that injury, and look, to be honest, I genuinely don't think he's still good, but I don't think he was ever the same again. You could probably look at the same, like, Van Dijk and Van Dijk in a similar situation where he had that situation against Everton, and he wasn't the same coming back. So you can pretty much look at Thiago in a sense of that's kind of what I'm basing this off of, to be honest. So that's why I kind of edged Genie. This is what I'm saying. I was kind of torn between them. So that's kind of why I edged Genie.
Keane threw in a wrench just to have fun, I guess, with Rooney at the 10.
No.
All right. Well, that was quick.
No.
Sorry,
I like the look of it, but no, I've got Rooney in a different spot.
As in baseball terms, it was a 12-6 that hung over the plate and they knocked it out the park. So they said no. Sorry about that.
I like it a little bit, but no.
Or I could also give you a cricket term. It was a slow ball and he hit it for six.
No cricket. We'll be here
Hey,
for 8 hours.
I'm not. Okay.
We'll be here for 8 hours. Then the next inning.
Okay, so it looks like we're agreeing on a midfield of Scholes, Carrick, and Thiago. I'm not gonna lie, I am somebody who does agree that Carrick did not get the credit he deserved during his time at United. So I think I would agree with that. So the next part for this 11 is the front three. And hopefully this should be the most interesting part of it, and we'll see how it goes. Aiden, I'm going to be nice and let you get yours off first because I got a feeling Reese and Stu might have some comments to share.
Right, I'll start off with probably the most controversial one. I'm just going to go straight out and say it. Salah, Firmino, Ronaldo.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, that was fast as hell.
Salah, Firmino, and Ronaldo. Those are my front three.
Firmino and Ronaldo. Oh, my Lord.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Reese or Stu, whoever wants to go first, because I mean.
Right.
Mm.
I can give you Mo Salah.
Yeah,
I'm
I can as well.
I'm not a particular fan of Mo Salah, but I will admit what he's done since he came to Liverpool has been fantastic. The fact he's scored well over 200 goals, I think he's the fifth. He's only the fifth player to do that in a Liverpool shirt, I think, something like that.
He's a bit quicker.
To be fair,
Is he a bit quicker than that?
No, I mean like to actually do
No,
it.
yeah.
200 goals. I think he's only the fifth or sixth player to do it, which is generally impressive. I'll give you that. Concerning like a club of Liverpool stature, hate them, but it's still impressive. Like, but in terms of like Firmino, I mean Firmino was excellent for Liverpool in that season in terms of like his drop off ability. But if you're looking at overall quality, I think I would have to say no. I would go with Rooney on that perspective. I think the reason is that slightly similar in a way, like they would drop off to allow the two white players to come in and be the most creative or effective goal scorer. But Rooney's whole dynamic was allowing him to play left wing, central midfield, a number 10, like, and a striker. So I think in circumstance, I would not say Firmino in that sense. Salah would, because Salah in a sense was already coming into this style, and that's where I would go. I think that's what I would do. So in sense of it, I'm going to say Salah, Rooney, and then obviously Ronaldo because he won the Ballon d'Or that year, and Liverpool's not had a Ballon d'Or since 01, which you think of the quality, they nearly had one in that 2020 season. But in terms of actual effectiveness,
I agree with you on that, Reese. But in all fairness to Aiden, I can see why he might have picked Firmino from a Liverpool perspective.
Potentially.
Not from, yeah, I can see why he would have. Yeah. His problem was lack of goals. Massively creative. Hugely creative, in fact. And I've got no issues with that. Wonderful footballer. I mean, we were linked with him. And, you know, there are certain aspects of the fan base.
He should have been a bit more selfish, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree. But so
he was way too kind.
Yeah, and that's but I'm with Reese on that. I'm afraid. Like, I think
so. Just
I think
because, yeah, I'm unfortunately Aiden, I am on their end on that one too. I get like Stu said, I get why you put Firmino in there from y'all's perspective, but I mean Rooney's got to be, you know, and I am going to bring this up because I think Keane has got a hard on for trying to get Rooney into that 10. So he's asking this because he does say he would put Mane in ahead of Thiago from that Liverpool team.
Mane for me was better than Salah was for Liverpool. I've said this a few times.
Oh, don't get me started on that. I don't know. Actually, all right. You know what? Screw it. Aiden, can we get an honest opinion here?
Yeah, I've kind of got into arguments myself with fellow Liverpool supporters when I've also stated that Mane had a better spell at, you know, Liverpool at a certain time than Salah has. So I would intend to agree that, yeah, I think Mane edges it over Salah, to be honest. And as I said, I've had many arguments with fellow Liverpool supporters in regards to this, thinking I was mad or what type of games was I watching. But yeah, I agree, to be truthfully honest, that Mane.
That's perfect. I like to change my pick now. I'm going back to what I should have done in the first place. So I'm going Ronaldo, Rooney, Mane.
Oh.
I shouldn't have been generous. I've had enough. So I'm going back to who I thought was better, and that's Mane.
I think Mane's a better player, but I think you're underestimating the magic that Scholes and Thiago would have created on that pitch. It would have been.
Oh, I'm not taking Thiago out. I'm not taking.
Oh, you're leaving him in, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking
so
Salah.
Mane for Salah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Again, You couldn't argue with either of them, to be honest. You really couldn't. So I got no issues with either of those. To be fair, you couldn't
Alright.
Yeah.
you couldn't argue with that. It would be just
Okay.
Firmino for me, only for the reasons I suggested.
Okay, so let's see if my former American football brain, among other things, can go ahead and get this right. My dumb ass should have been writing it down. So the starting 11 we're picking then is, I believe we said that we agree on Van der Sar in goal. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We was easy with Everett left back.
Yep.
We are going. I'll be nice, even though I'm a psychopath like Vidic, but yes, fine. We're going Ferdinand and Van Dijk at center back.
Are we?
It seems like I think it says all that I've pretty much won this whole debate because the whole lineup has literally been my picks. I'll take that.
To
I'll
be
take
fair,
that.
it was a lot of United things. Don't get me wrong. See, like that's the thing though. Like for me, and just to go back to it,
I'm just gonna put on that moral compass wins. So I'm gonna sit back.
No, to be fair, Reese, I think even any hardened Liverpool fan who knows anything about football would probably agree with this team anyway. There are, in 2008, there was a 99 just unbelievable Manchester United teams. Unbelievable. They really, really were. It's like doing a United City combination right now. It'd be massively difficult today, but we'd run them tight in 99 and 2008. So, like I say, even you didn't.
did we not?
I thought we did.
No, because
oh no. Okay.
Aiden picked Trent. I went for West Brom.
I couldn't go for Trent based on I think he's a better offensive than defense, and for me, it's all about defense.
All right. And I will admit, I'm gonna go brown hair. Sorry to bully on that one, Aiden. Just because personally, I don't know. It's something about Trent, and I don't know if it's as angry as I think Reese was how much he doesn't like Trent. I just, as a defender, and correct me if I'm wrong, was there a point where y'all shifted him to midfield?
I've said Trent for years he should be a midfielder.
Yeah, like I mean, I even had this again debate with fellow Liverpool fans, and someone actually said it to me going back a couple of years ago. And I'll be honest, I genuinely thought that they were mad. I didn't see how it would work, but of course, we now see how successful he is in midfield. He kind of has that hybrid role now. So, yeah.
And I put a shoulder through his fucking chest. All right, sorry. And then midfield, we went Scholes, Carrick, and Thiago with let's see. I know Reece switched it to Mane, but I think in terms of Stu, did you go sticking with Salah like Aiden did? Because just for that year, like for what they was doing, right?
I don't think you could argue with either, really.
Either one,
I think either one of them. They're both unfortunate not to be in, but either one of them, I don't think you could argue. Seriously, I'd be happy with either.
All right, so we'll go Ronaldo, Rooney, and Salah. I know Reese might not like that. So listen, we're approaching the hour mark, and so we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I think that was fun. Oh, sorry, I wanted to talk shit about this before we even got into this full debate. The 2020, I'm happy. Actually, I'm not happy. Y'all finally broke that 30-year stuff. But damn, like Liverpool fans, y'all frustrate me sometimes. Like I had a cousin of mine from Trinidad who is a Liverpool fan, and the night you guys won it, he called me or he called my mom to talk shit to me. Y'all won it for the first time in 30 years, and you called me to talk shit. Come on now.
I'll be honest. You're not going to be the only person to suffer from that. So I think there was a lot of that happening that night. So yeah, look, I mean, ever since that night, we've been trying to chase it again. But of course, whatever happens. But yeah, that was a night to remember for sure.
I think it's just mad that the season he's had, that you won it in front of no fans, and it got to the fact that you could eventually defend it in front of your fans, and you bottled it. I mean, like, I don't know what's worse, but like the
Oh, I guess this is
circumstance.
what's happening right now.
You could probably say that they're both worse, to be truthfully honest.
Circumstance
yeah.
being, but like the team perspective that you had, like I don't know how you dropped off that big, because the drop off the following season, like when you were supposed to be defending your title, I genuinely was mental. Like that, like when you look at drop offs, like we've seen Arsenal drop off like quite bad after they've won a league title, which has been a long time anyway. We've seen a Chelsea drop off from winning a title. Like United have had a drop off, but the level that you guys dropped off was
Yeah,
insane.
it was pretty insane. It was actually around the time where BVD, or Van Dijk I should say, made like a really crazy
Yeah.
comment that actually ended up kind of turning everyone's heads. So he pretty much just was in an interview and he pretty much just said, "Look, you don't know what's going on in the dressing room or behind closed doors."
Yeah.
If you're a United fan and you heard a United player say that, you're just like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what's
We're used to it all
happening
the
there?"
time.
You know. So I kind of initially, when I heard that, I thought, all right, something has to be happening here. Is there like stuff going on between players and manager, or manager and whoever?
Yeah.
So yeah, to be honest, it was quite worrying. But at the same time, if you look at the midfield, it was bound to end. I mean, how long more could have that gone on for? I mean, Henderson, come on, Milner, that it was only so long that could end up. I mean, it was about time that needed to be changed. But yeah, like again, in terms of the drop off, that comment that he made going back then was truly worrying, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, let's go ahead and jump into the wrap up here. The last part is just score predictions. Stu, I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, and we'll just go around.
You know what? I don't think it's going to be the walkover that everybody thinks. I'm not saying we're going to win, but I don't think we're going to get turned over by 4 or 5 either. I think we might surprise people Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
If we can stay in the game for the first 20, 25, maybe even 30 minutes, and we get aggressive in there, we may get a draw. We may end up drawing 0-0. Reality, might be 2-0 Liverpool, but I think there's something about it. I think we can snatch a draw. We've done it before. We don't score there, so so it's churlish of me to say we haven't scored there in. When was the last goal, Reece? 20.
Oh, something crazy.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
We haven't scored.
Oh,
We haven't scored Anfield since 20. We haven't scored Anfield since 2018. Eric Bailly scored.
2018. Yeah.
2018, that's right. Yeah.
So we could lose 2-0. There's something that tells me I'm going to go for a draw. Actually, I'm going to go for 0-0. I think we might keep you out. I know that's. Look, I've got a lot of.
Keen, it's your channel.
I'm going 0-0. There you go.
All right. Reece?
I actually think there will be goals in this game, because just like we're shit in defence, Liverpool are also shit in defence. The amount of goals that Liverpool concede, but it's actually very sloppy goals as well. Especially very early on, Liverpool have conceded quite early in recent games. So I think that's something I think Aiden will admit, like for himself as a Liverpool fan, like he'll be concerned about. Is like, we are not particularly the best at converting chances, but if we have an opportunity to take one, we will eventually take it. I think there will be goals. I hope we don't get beat. We're more than likely to, but I'm gonna go 2-2 draw.
Oh, all right.
Okay. That's brave.
Yeah. Aiden, how you feeling? Confident over there, or is Reece correct?
I mean, again, I've had conversations, and I think we have a lot more to prove in this game than what we do. To be truthfully honest, I mean, if you look at, of course, your situation, the Champions League, and then the 7-0. I hate to bring it up, by the way, but but yeah, I genuinely think you have a lot more to prove, and I think that's where we're going to get caught. Because as I stated earlier, Liverpool intend to start way too slow, and I potentially think he will catch us. I've no doubt in my mind he will catch us once or twice or whatever on the counter, in particularly because again our defense is not all there. Let's be honest. But I think he have a lot more to prove, to be honest. So if I was to go with a prediction, I think 3-3.
Oh, it's about to be a fun goddamn game at least.
I like that, but there's no way we're scoring 3 goals at Anfield. No, I'm not being, it's all about, it just ain't going to happen. I get that, and it's a great, thanks for that, but I just can't see us scoring 3. I mean, if you score 3 at Anfield and draw, you guys are going to expect it. You've got City fucking off to Saudi Arabia tonight. You guys need 3 points. You want to push as much distance as you can by the time City get back, because they could be completely derailed by then.
Just remember that Liverpool have also had that situation before, where a Premier League team has went off to the Club World Cup as European champions. They were top of the league by nearly a dozen points, and they still bottled it to the team that won the league that year.
They did. They did.
They've got a habit of bottling it when it comes to the Club World Cup.
Scott McTominay hat-trick. To be honest, if it's anyone scoring goals, it's going to be Scott, 100%. I don't disagree with that at all.
Actually, this lets me comment on something I wanted to comment to. First of all, if Scott McTominay scores a hat trick, I might. Never mind. I'm not going to say something stupid because then I might actually end up having to do it. But like I would lose my fucking mind. That would blow my mind. We want
to win games. He ain't the reason you win a game.
Well, all right. But that's not the conversation we was going to have. But the point I wanted to bring about Scott, though, is I didn't like Ten Hag's little non-comment on who the captain's going to be. And I swear to God, if it's McTominay.
It's an irrelevance.
I know, but just...
It's a token gesture to the captain.
Trevor's really holding on to that phrase. All right. So, hey, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for everybody in the comments. I think we ended up doing some pretty good content here, some pretty good conversations. We did make it over an hour. I didn't think we were going to go that long. Which conversation was that? Something got a little heated in the middle there, which I let go on because that was entertaining to me. I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, thank you guys for joining. Thanks. Like I said, thank you, everybody in the comments for joining. Manchester United, Liverpool tomorrow. It is supposed to be one of the biggest rivalries, but, hey, both teams are, let's just say, in a little bit of a turmoil. Ours might be a little more than theirs, but stay tuned for the next things coming up. And thanks again for joining. Peace out, everybody.
Fellas, good to meet you, Bob.